Hi, welcome to a Barmy Army Isolation Podcast number 19. I don't know why we're still calling it an Isolation Podcast, because we can all leave the houses now. I think we'll have to come up with a new name maybe next week. Tonight, I'm joined by Jake and Matt. How are you both doing, guys?
Yeah, not bad. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. Can't complain. No, I bet I could if I tried, but that's another longer podcast. Tonight, we are going to be talking formations, starting 11s, because the season's going to start. We just don't know whether we're going to be there to see the start of it or not. So, what we're going to do is we're going to have a bit of a discussion and see your starting 11s and your formations. So, Jake, let's start with your formation. What have you gone for?
Okay, well, I might have mentioned this in the past, but I'm a very traditional person, so I'm going to go for a 4-4-2.
Ooh. See, I like this already. We've gone for traditional attacking football. Evening, John. Hi, Debs. Craney, your formation.
Mine's a 4-1-3-2.
What are you, Rodney?
Hey, listen, it's not that different to Casey. It's just sacrificing an extra defensive midfielder for
4-1-3-2. You're welcome. You're welcome, John. It was me. I did those all afternoon. And yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Evening, ref. Right. So let's start. I think I'm probably safe in saying you've both got the same goalkeeper.
I hope so.
My dream.
Right. So, have you both gone for Mary?
Yep.
How did you know?
It's just a guess. I don't know. So, my question to you both is: Mary was our WSL goalkeeper last season. Craney, you were so excited when she signed. You thought we were joking him. When it was announced, you actually thought it was a joke.
Yeah, there's a story behind that, actually. But yeah, I did think that Nat rung me up at work, and I basically hung up on her to cut a long story short, because I thought she was winding me up, having banged on about her for the very first season all year. So yeah.
So Mary will be, I think she'll be in starting. I think she'll be the number one, clearly. But do you think Mary's under I think last season, I think most people would say on social media that her place was safe. There was no real competition from anyone. Do you think there's going to be serious competition for Mary this season? And Matt, you were so happy she signed, so we'll start with you on that.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Emily Ramsey signed a new contract recently. Siobhan left. So I think my understanding would be obviously Mary number one with Emily kind of pushing her, challenging. I'm honest, I didn't expect Siobhan to leave, so I thought it would be Siobhan challenging. But obviously, I think Emily signed a new deal. She was, she had that loan spell, didn't she, as well, a couple of seasons back at Sheffield. So I think there's potential now for her to really kick on. I'm assuming all the cup games for me, I'd give her a go, and maybe some of the games where it's the lower opposition, the ones bottom end of the table. I think we may as well. she needs games now, so. If she's our number two, then yeah, for me, I'd say definitely compete with Mary.
So, you made a great point, and I'll go to Jake because Jake loves the Conti Cup. So would you change your goalkeeper for the Conti Cup games? Would you play Emily instead of Mary to give her a rest, Jake?
Well, here's one of my many controversial opinions. I'm not a fan of rotating just for the cups because, look, we all know that I love the Conti Cup, and I feel like we should put strong teams out for it. Emily, it's hard to see where she's got to come into the team because we haven't seen much of her, but it's quite clear that Mary is obviously established. She's a level above what Emily would be at the moment. But I'd like to see maybe Emily get a few games towards the end of the season, possibly. Because I feel like Conti Cup is not just that thing that should, send out a second team. Maybe a bit of rotation, but not solid.
Okay. I'm in the kind of in the men's game. They clearly have one goalkeeper for the Premier League, and then most teams have a goalkeeper for the Carabao or the FA Cup. So I'm in between. I think give them the game, give Emily the game she needs because she does need the games, but with Mary, we kind of got this brilliant goalkeeper there that we know we can call on if it doesn't go well. Because Emily, if I'm right, she only played one game for us last season in Birmingham.
I think so,
From
yeah.
memory, I think, yeah.
Because Aurora played against Leicester at home,
Mhm.
and then Mary played against City in the Cups, didn't she?
Mm.
And Everton away. Yeah. So really, the starting goalkeeper, it wasn't really a surprise. Now, this is where I'm expecting now probably the disagreements to begin. So, right back, Jake.
Okay. Right. So, I know Amy has sort of made that position her own, but now we've got Honor coming in, haven't we? So, I'll hold my hand up. I've not seen any of Honor. I've just heard that she's very talented, so I'm going to stick her at right back.
Honor straight away.
Yeah.
Ooh. See, Nat's going to be loving you right now for that.
I'm just putting my faith in that Casey's recruited a good young player. Obviously, I've not seen any of her, so I'm just trusting the manager.
For people watching, if you want to put your 11s in the comments, we can have a look at those as well. So far, John put Mary in goal, which I don't really think. Craney, you're right back.
I've gone exactly the same as Jake. I'm just thinking
Really?
now that we're going to have the same back four, me and Jake.
Probably.
So, okay, so I will be then. I'll have the discussion. Is there not Kirsty Smith? I think we can all probably agree. Kirsty Smith towards the back end of the season before COVID came along. Kirsty Smith was kind of playing some of the, according to people, she was playing good football. She was playing well at right back. Is there not an argument for Kirsty Smith or even Amy Turner to start and bring Honor in slowly, not push her in from the very first game?
I think for me that's interesting. I talked about this a few weeks ago with Deb and Fiona about the need for maybe not throwing people in straight away. However, I think Kirsty, like you said, was obviously improved, but I think she could potentially fill in, and I know she has done at left back. Now, obviously, as you probably both know, I'm not a massive fan of playing players out of position, but I just think from what I've seen of Ona, I think it's there, everything that we need. I think Kirsty's very good going forward, but sometimes, I don't know, maybe slightly caught out at the back. She can be at times. Ona's quick. She looks solid in a tackle. So I think that was my reasons for kind of going with her first and throw in, hopefully, the kind of fixture list and see where it takes us.
Okay. Jake, you mentioned Amy. It's a tough one right back because we've got Kirsty who can play right back or left back, and then you've got Amy who made the position her own.
She did, and the thing about Amy is when she did make that position her own, she showed what she could do going forward as well. I mean, we all remember the goal at Everton away and how surprising that was. But look, I do like Amy, but not to spoil the rest of my team, but I'd rather have her in the middle.
Oh, okay. Now, some people have started to put in the defence. So John Fry has done Amy, Abby, Millie, and Lotta. And Sue has done Ona, Abby, Millie, and Lotta. So, for me, I've gone. If I was picking my 11, I've gone for Kirsty Smith because from the back end of the season when she was playing, I think she deserves to start. And maybe if we're winning the game comfortably, then bring her on for 15, 20 minutes and get her used to it. But this is what I like about this is that we're all going to probably have different players and different things. I don't think we're going to have too many differences on the centre back then, or at least I think. Rainey, your first centre back.
First centre back is Abby.
Okay. Jake, have you got the same?
I just mentioned Amy.
Ooh.
Well, I did say I'd be ruffling some feathers today.
Right now, John Fry is ecstatic. For me, for mine, I've gone Amy as well. I like Abby, and but for me, Jake, talk about Amy T.
Amy, I just think Amy's like really good in terms of the fact that she can do a job. She's very physical. I'd say she can go forward. I know it's not really required as a centre back, but Abby, if you compare Abby and Amy, Abby came in as this big signing, someone who would transform our defence. She's done us a job, but I don't think she's quite transformed it. And that sounds very negative. And I think maybe she needs a second season to go to that next level. But I think it's a whole thing of Amy Turner and Abby McManus putting the names together. Abby's had, 12, 13 years at City. Amy, no massive clubs on her CV, if you like. So I feel like Amy's really grown into the team, from day one. And she's come in, she's stepped up to a WSL level. I would pick her over Abby.
Yeah, I mean, I think Amy Turner, and I keep going back to it, and I've mentioned it the last few weeks I've been doing these. Amy Turner's tackle against Liverpool. I know she was playing right back where she got the ball and there was a boom around LSV. I mean, that for me is for the reasons why. Craney, just before I forget, I told you John Fry would be happy with you, Jake. Anytime. Jay, Craney, Abby, you've obviously watched her when she was at City as well, so.
Oh, yeah, keep that quiet. No.
Sorry, we'll just ignore that bit, everyone.
There was reasons for that, but yeah, no, you're right. I have seen it before. I think for me, I'd gone with Abby simply because I think her and Millie obviously played the majority of the season together, and I think that partnership for me was getting there in terms of the understanding. I'd say two different players, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think obviously Abby's more. You get it down, you play the ball, and Millie, as we know, is obviously very good in the air. I mean, it's difficult because obviously, like you two, I love Amy Turner. I think she's very good in the tackle. She's a leader as well. If we're looking at obviously outside of our current captain, and obviously she's very vocal, which is great. But I think for me, I've just shaded Abby purely on kind of experience in terms of, like Jake said before, top level and how high she's played. And obviously she's still an international. And also that partnership I mentioned before with Millie, I think if we can keep that, as often as possible, I think we'll see that improve as well as we go on.
Yeah, I think the partnership was getting better. I think we can all, Abby and Millie was getting better. They're getting used to each other. So I kind of see it going both ways. But I like Millie and I like Millie and Amy together. I think it's just one of those centre backs that I feel comfortable watching. I need to, I don't think we saw it. Abby was out injured for a while as well, and it was nice at Reading when we went down to Reading away. We saw Turner and Turner together at the back. It was good. A couple more. It was a great partnership. A couple of refs put his back four. He's got a lot at Abby, Millie, Smith, but only to become first choice once she gets used to the game. So the next centre back, I don't presume you're not getting anything other than that, are you?
No, we agree with Deb.
Jake?
Yeah, it's got to be Turner and Turner, hasn't it, at the back?
Right. So,
the original 21.
The original 21. So, Millie, Craney, off you go. Talk about her.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like I mentioned before, Millie, very good in the air. Another one that for me is nice and vocal. She helps people around her. We've seen her carry it out as well a few times. I know she does sometimes, I don't know, I'd call it probably excited where she ventures forward and she does love a little bit of a Cruyff turn. But I think for somebody at the back, Millie, you can always rely on Millie. I don't think I've ever really seen anything like in terms of mistakes, anything major. I think, she's been solid. She's been there since the start, obviously. And yeah, I think you know what you get with Millie, don't you? Really, just calm, collected, a good leader, good in the air, and yeah, just a great person to have at the back, really. So yeah.
Yeah, look, I mean, she's so calm on the ball. It's sometimes just just, when she does a Cruyffy turn as well, it's really, when she can play the ball out. I think she's a ball playing centre back out. Jake, I know you're a massive fan of Mill.
Yeah, absolutely. I think she's got every quality a defender could want. So obviously, she can head, she can bring the ball forward and pick a killer pass and set one of the strikers up. She's just amazing. She's physical, and it's funny because she's actually quite a slim and tall player, but she's really physical. She really hold strikers off. As I say, she's just got every quality that you want as a defender. And I've got to say now, she's got to get in the England squad sooner or later, because I think she's up at the level of, your Millie Brighton and your Steph Horton, Leah Williamson. I'd put Millie Turner in that bracket. Get her in the England squad.
Yeah, I mean, I know Debs and Nat, they can't wait to get Millie in the England team. They'll go and watch. But just briefly coming off, still talking about Millie, when all the players have had their contracts announced, at extensions or new contracts, are either of you surprised that they've not announced Millie?
I'd say yes, in terms of a longer one. I think there's been one of those where some of us, I mean, I've had this discussion in the past, some of us have wondered, have some of last year's players been given 2 years, to cover the season just finished in this year, which you'd assume maybe Millie has if she's not had an extension. But I'd like to think at some point between now and hopefully Christmas that we'd see her tied down to something a bit longer. I mean, we have given out a couple of 3-year contracts. That was last summer. So I don't see why, assuming Millie wants to stay, which I've no doubt she does, that she would look to extend for that length of time.
Jake, are you surprised?
A little bit worried as well because, as you say, Millie is one that we need to tie down. We need to keep here as long as we can because she's solid to the team. She's a vital part of the core of what Manchester United women are at the moment. So, look, to see her leave would be one thing, but to see her leave on a free would break my heart, honestly. So, yeah, secure her, tie her down.
Okay, I'll get on it straight away. I'll just send a couple of messages out and we'll get it sorted out. Left back, Jake.
Right, we've mentioned her already. Kirsty Smith, as you say, played really well towards the end of the season just gone. And even though she's a right back, she's sort of adapted into left back, a bit like how Amy did on the right. And look, I'm choosing her over Lotta. And maybe I've just not been convinced by Lotta, but maybe second season she'll get going as well. And I can sort of see why the argument is give Honor a bit of a chance because we threw Lotta in the deep end at the first game I think it was against City, and she's improved since then. But for me, I've seen more of Kirsty. I feel like Kirsty's also improved, and as you say, towards the end of last season, she was playing the best football we've seen her play in a red shirt.
Yeah, I completely agree. I completely do. Craney?
I've done the same as well. I've gone Smithy at left back. Similar to Jake, I just think from season 1 to season 2, I think there's so much of an improvement between kind of what we had or what we saw of Kirsty in the Championship versus Kirsty last year in the WSL. I think, like Jake said, she's come on quite a lot. Again, another one, a lot of people mention this. She's kind of good at the dark arts and the stuff, like we've seen the bits of like rolling on and off the pitch and the little slide, throwing the ball away, things like that. I think that's great. You need things like that. It comes into your game management in a way. And I think similar to Jake, Lotta struggled at the start. That said, though, the last few months before, obviously, the season was cancelled, when she got chances, she did look quite good. For example, the Everton game, and she was slowly coming into her own. But I think for me, the jury's still out on her. Obviously, this year will be a big year for her. See if she can get a more consistent run of games, because I do think the consistency will help her and see where it takes. But I think for me at the moment, just due to improvement and how kind of solid she is, I think Kirsty edges it for me.
I've disagreed with both of you for mine. I've gone Lotta because the way she was playing towards the season.
Yeah,
I think that she deserves to start. Like you said, though, Craney, it's a massive season for her. This is the season. So I've put her in. But as you said, that Kirsty can come over to play left back, or Martha can play left back, or even Honor can play left back, according to the report. So I think we're covered there. And I think from the back four, we've kind of agreed on one. We've all agreed on one player, so that's something. So I mean, Kirsty Smith is in all of our sides, just in different positions.
Yeah.
So Craney, because you've gone for your one holder.
Yeah.
I think I know who it is.
Yeah, everybody's player of the year from last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hayley Ladd. Hayley, I mean, what can you say that people don't already know about Hayley? I think anybody that watches Hayley knows what she gives and what she offers. I think, if anything, there's a lot that or from what I've read this week, there's a lot of people don't tend to specifically watch what she does and how well she does it. I think sometimes she goes a bit maybe under the radar because she does a job so well and maybe doesn't always get the credit. But I think for me, just in that holding position, protecting the back four, very, very good in a tackle, which is what we love. She plays her passes. She keeps the game just simple, ticking over, win the ball back, nice and simple. And I don't recall her giving it away too many times. Again, it's another solid player you can depend on. You know what you're getting with Hayley. Okay, she's not the tallest of people, but she does make up physically for that.
I mean, Hayley's in my team. I'm going to come to Jake in a minute, but I presume she's in Jake's as well. Because, for me, I didn't realise. I mean, I never saw her before she came to play for United. I know Jake watched her play for Wales, and I know you've watched her for a while, Craney. But I didn't realise how calm and cool she was on the ball. And she doesn't ever get stressed. She doesn't, get flustered when she's on the ball. She can make a pass, and if it has to go backwards, then it'll go backwards. But more times than not, the ball goes forwards, which I think is great. And obviously, for me, she scored the goal. I mean, for me, it's the goal of the season, just for the celebration, against Leicester. I understand why Hayley gets in the teams. Jake, Hayley for you, why?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Hayley is someone that I was watching even before the formation of United Women, so I think that tells you a lot about how much I admire her. She's one of 4 great players in the Wales team, along with the likes of Sophie Ingle, Tash Harding, and Jess Fishlock, and she always stood out when I watched the Wales team as well. And then in the Championship season for us, I was constantly checking the WSL, watching as many games as I could. She was massive for Birmingham. Scored a few decent goals as well for them, and she's just such a great addition. Last season, she proved herself to be that. I feel like she was already at the level of 4th position in the WSL with a solid Birmingham team, and she just took that form and brought it to us, and it's been brilliant. I love Hayley, and I think next season she's just only going to get even better.
What I love about Hayley, right? I mean, Craney and I, we kind of do the socials for the BA quite a lot, and actually, I don't think I realised how many people who follow the BA love Hayley Ladd. It's kind of it's weird because most football fans are fickle. They only to follow the strikers or the wingers. It's very rare that you get them liking the holding midfield player. And I think it's it shows that this Hayley's just come in and she's kind of taken the football to another level for us, a player that we were all kind of crying out for in our Championship season, and it looks like she's been playing there for years. She's I think Millie and her, the coolness that they both have is I love it. I love it when they're on the ball because neither of them get flustered. My only thing, maybe getting forward a bit more, but that's me being picky. Do you think she has to add that to a game, Craney? Goals?
I mean, potentially, yeah. I mean, if I go back even before Jake's time, Bristol City, when they were kind of top end of the table, and she was only very young then, I think, she's capable of goals. Obviously, we saw the one against Leicester, the halfway line effort, but I think, Yeah, great. If she could get even on corners, if she was hanging about at the edge of the box, I think she'd be capable of hitting a ball pretty well if she's up in them positions. But I think what's great is that she holds kind of, if a fullback's gone forward, for example, she does hold that position very well in terms of if the fullback doesn't get back, she breaks down that counter attack. So, if she get, it's one of them. I'm not too fussy if she's, kind of obviously be seen to needing more goals, or if people think maybe she could get. I'm sure she's capable, but I think for me the role that she plays now pretty much is what we need. Like I say, just positionally in terms of covering the fullback.
I mean, for me, I know we were all at the Etihad, and when we came out, we were on social media, and one of the biggest criticisms that I read on that day when we came out of the Etihad was that people thought Hayley was wasted at right back. But again, the manager wanted them to play a certain way. Would you have agreed? Did you agree with what these people were saying on social media after that game about being wasted at right back training?
I'd say yes. I mean, wasted might be a bit harsh. That might do a bit of a disservice to the player. But I think, certainly there was other options at the time. And I think maybe, had we used a central, then we may have seen a bit of maybe a different game in terms of their kind of attacking threat that they had.
Yeah, I mean, John makes a similar point to what you said, Craney. She's there to protect our back two when the full-backs go forward. I've gone for Hayley as well. It's not really a surprise. Like you said, she was our player of the season, so I think we'd all probably have her in. Jake, let's go for your next pick.
Is this central midfield still?
Go on then.
It's got to be my favourite, our new signing, Lucy Staniforth.
Do you know what? I'd already wrote it down. I knew you were going to put Hayley and Lucy together.
I just think these are a solid combination, You play together. I think it might only have been for a season at Birmingham, but these two together, you got Hayley, who does all the defensive work. You got Lucy, who's very much an attacking-minded player. Those two are going to be such a partnership if they play together next season.
I mean, I'll be honest. I've not really seen much of Lucy when she was at Birmingham. I saw her when she played against us in the Conti. And since we started our social Sundays, and I'll say this now because you want the one player you said you would love to have at United from the very beginning. 19 weeks ago, Jake, you said United need Lucy Staniforth.
Yeah,
and
I was begging
she's
for
here
it.
now, and you must be happy about it.
Yeah, I'm a very happy man. I was relieved because, as you know, there was rumours about possibly Everton or even City coming in for her, and it was a bit, it wasn't clear which way she was going. So for her to come towards, a proven WSL player, someone who has international experience, and someone who's got an immense work rate, a bit like Hayley, I should say. She's very cool and calm on the ball, and she's definitely got an eye for goal. So no prizes for guessing who I'm having on the back of my shirt this season.
I don't even want to even have a guess. I kind of know. You just need to know when. We just need to know when the shirt's out. That's all we're waiting for now. I think it's this week or next week, but anyway. Craney.
I've got LJ in there.
Ooh.
And I know it's going to sound balmy because I've got a 3. My thinking is, without getting too technical, in and out of possession. So she sits in the 3 with 2 wingers either side. Obviously, in possession, she'll take it forward to behind the front 2 and out of possession. So we've not got a big hole in the middle. I'm expecting to kind of drop in or to kind of push alongside her. So, yeah, that's my...
Now, it's an interesting one because a lot of people on these podcasts have always said that they would like to see LJ play deeper than the main striker. And I know Jake's nodding. I can see Jake's nodding away there in agreement as well. So I'm actually not surprised you've done something like that because I kind of figured, Craney, you would throw in a good curveball somewhere along the line to help everyone along. But the thing for me is LJ has to play. I think not giving it away. You've seen your team, Jake.
I'm going to keep that secret for now.
Oh, this could be controversial. Tell you what, Matt could be coming onto him here for this if he's not in that 11. Okay. My central midfielder, and I've not decided. I'm between Lucy and Zelly as my duo. I've gone. By the way, I've not even told you. I've gone for a 4. Then I've not really decided what I'm doing with the rest of them yet up front. But I've gone for Zelly or Lucy, depending. Really, I can't make my mind up. I want to see Lucy, but Zelly's the club captain for me, so I'm kind of veering more to putting Katie Zell in. And I'm just looking at some of the comments. No one's actually put Katie Zellum in the team.
Oh, wow.
Okay, interesting. Okay, well I've gone for Zelly. That's for me. So LJ, in your midfield 3, go on. It's an interesting choice.
Yeah, again, as I was kind of talking about before in terms of in and out of possession, obviously I realise the midfield 3, if we lose the ball, could be potentially open. However, like I said, I think when we've got the ball, LJ needs to be behind the front 2, supporting. I've just never really favoured a lone striker. I know sometimes we have played like 2 holding and 1 up front, but I think the forward that's the lone forward never gets the service. So I think LJ's got an important role in my midfield 3. I think she's, the driving force going forward in possession, and then coming back. Obviously, she's very strong, so I think she'll be winning the ball back, and hopefully, like I say, Hayley comes alongside her or Hayley mops up just slightly behind her. I think that could work quite well for me.
Yeah, I mean, LJ's in my team. Jake's not giving his away, which, I kind of think I know where he's going, but I could be also very wrong. But I'm not so sure sometimes. Right. Jake, do you want to do one of your wingers then? Do you want to do the left winger? Because I presume it's the same one we're all picked.
Yeah, no surprises here. The legendary Leah Galton.
Okay. Craney, yeah?
Yeah, I've gone the same.
For me, player of the season, she pushed Hayley close to player of the season. Jake, do you want to talk about Leah a bit?
Of course, yeah. She's a full package. She really is. And we've talked on this podcast before about how Casey's got her back into football, how she's made her fall in love with the game again. And you can really see it when she plays. She has confidence going forward. She'll take on any defender, whether they're a very average right back or they're the best right back in the league. She'll take them on. She'll try to beat them. And as we saw against Everton in the final match, she has a real eye for goal, and she can score a goal or 2 when we need it. So, yeah, obviously at the moment she doesn't want to play for England, but do you know what? I respect that decision. She's focusing fully on the club. And, I should say, pushed Hayley very close for player of the season last season.
I completely agree. When we talk about the Everton away game, I know you weren't there, Craney, because you had family things. On. I thought the combination of Leah and Lotta, it had promised to work. They were overlapping each other. I thought it was brilliant to watch, and I like that in a fullback and a winger when they've got that understanding that if one of them goes forward, the other one drops a little bit deeper, kind of thing. And I thought that combination worked really well. Craney, Leah, for you?
Yeah, I mean, like you've both said, she's very close to player of the year. I think for me, had she not maybe had that spell injured, I think we'd potentially be looking at the candidate there. Obviously, again, it was close to her and Hayley, but I did catch up with the Everton game on the iPlayer, and I think, like you said, the link-up play between the two of them was very good. And I think what Leah brings is something that she's drive, hasn't she? It's like a power when she runs. She powers past people with ease, and I think just a finishing as well. Finishing's a lot better. She's very good left foot, very very good, and I think she just offers us quality.
Yeah, I mean, Jake,
she's easy.
I mean, Jake, I think Craney's just frozen for a minute. So I think you hit the point on the nail on the head about England with Leah. She's not there yet, but hopefully she might change her mind. She might not. I don't know. Deborah's said in the comments, Leah has become first choice. Incredible progress for someone who was done with the game. And I think that's down to probably Casey as well, her management of her. And Craney's just dropped out the feed, so hopefully he'll get himself back in. So we'll just have a couple of minutes talking about Leah. I think her main debut that we saw. I think we were at Main when she made a debut. I think it was against Everton in the Conti in our championship season. Were you looking at her then thinking, yeah, she can become this kind of world beater? Or were you like, let's give her time and see where she goes, kind of thing?
Yeah. At first, she didn't really stand out to me as anything, really. And that sounds a bit harsh and dismissive, but I think she surprised all of us, not just me, in the fact that she's really come on and she's not only established herself, she has made herself, I'll say it now, the best player in the team. That's my opinion. And as I just said, she has the eye for goal. She can take on any defender. And obviously, I think she scored, was it a header against Everton away last season? In the Conti, first season, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was obviously that was the game that turned our attention to her, and it's just been a brilliant ride since then. It's not really been a roller coaster. It's not been hit and miss. It's just been hit every time with Leah. Yeah,
I mean, Deborah's put in the comments, Casey's managed Leah really well, both physically and mentally. She knew when to play her. She knew when to give her a break, and I think for me, that's one of the what Casey does. She trusts the players, to kind of tell her where they are, both physically and mentally. And it's not down to the manager just making the decision. She trusts the players as well. Right. Who have you got on the right side then, Jake?
Again, no real surprises. It's Kirsty Hansen.
Okay. Craney, who have you got?
I've gone controversial. I've gone Tooney.
Oh, okay. No.
Interesting.
Okay. Craney, I know you. I mean, you were one of the people who were saying Tooney should play more last season than she probably got time for.
Yeah.
I mean, I after the Leicester game, I know Matt was saying the same. After the Leicester game, she scored a 5. She should have played the next game. I can't remember who it was against. But after that game, she deserved to start. She deserves probably to start after the Leicester game. Were you a bit kind of? Where were you after that game? I mean, were you like, I don't understand why she's not playing, or do you see Tooney as a natural right-sided player?
Well, I think my reason for doing it, I mean, yeah, I'd agree. I think very unlucky to lose out next game after that Leicester game. Obviously, we don't know why. Obviously, that's down to the manager. But I think I've obviously seen Tooney prior to United, and she'd spent all that time on the right-hand side, whether that was, right wing, right forward, of either a 2 or a 3, or like I say, on the right. So I think for me, she's more than capable of doing it. Kirsty did have a couple of injury issues last year, and I think we kind of maybe, I wouldn't say struggled, but we had forwards out wide, which I don't massively favour. So I think Tooney, every time she played or came on last year, she was either involved in a goal, I think, or she'd scored from what I can remember. So I think, she's a lot more to give and a lot more to prove. She's recently signed a new, 3-year deal, I think, or 2-year with an extension. So yeah, obviously Casey sees something in her there, and I think now it's going to be another. First year she was very good. Last year she'd have probably felt slightly like she was deserving of more game time, and I totally agree. And I think this year, point to prove. I think she's quick. We do see a lot of a good link up play in the middle, and she will chase down the ball, and she's done very well in the middle. But I think for me as well, she's able to beat a player. She's quick. Okay, she may not be as strong as Kirsty, but I think just offers something different for me. And obviously, she's not really spent any time out injured. She's one of them that's always fit. So yeah, I've gone with Tooney for those reasons.
So where do you see her natural position? Out wide or through the middle?
difficult one. I mean, because obviously, like I say, since I've seen her as a youngster at Blackburn, I think she's always been a wide player, and she's got the goals from there. But that said, I think, like I say, last year I was very impressed with how well she adapted. So, I mean, there's options centrally now. Obviously, we've signed Lucy Staniforth, so we've got options in the centre. So I think for me now to accommodate her, that's why I've gone wide. So I'm still sticking with wide. I think if we're not bringing anybody else in, she's, for me, capable of competing with Kirsty for that right-hand side. And it talks about, Casey mentioned about that competition for places.
Yeah, I mean, the right-hand side, I mean, I'll tell you who I've picked in a minute. The right-hand side is one of the tougher positions, I think, to pick, because there could be one or two players to or even maybe three or, there's quite a few players who can play that one position. Jake, you pick Kirsty.
Yeah, I have, yeah. Look, Kirsty, I think we can all agree, since she's focused on United full time and she's finished her studies, she's gone to the next level. She's a very committed player. She's dedicated to always improving herself. And I know I've said this about a lot of the players getting better in this past season, but this next season will be a real step up for them, just to see whether they maintain or go one better than where they are now. Kirsty, she scored a good goal against Reading. She's a bit like Leah, she's getting more of an eye for goal. And again, I can see her developing into something even better than she is now. But she's very much secured the place on the right wing. The only problem is she's had a few injuries. So if we can keep her fit, it's all good. If we can't, we might have to do a bit of rotation.
Yeah, I mean, Kirsty Hansen is, I think we can all agree, a fan favourite. Obviously, there's certain people that we all know who absolutely adore Kirsty. And I think I like her on her and Leah on the wingers. I think it's brilliant to have two wingers that are both got pace. But Kirsty, as Craney said, she's physically strong as well, so she can be bumped around a bit and she's fine. I've gone slightly controversial on my choice for the right. I've gone for Jackie.
All right.
Now, I've seen Jackie plays kind of there for Holland sometimes. Yeah. So I've put Jackie there because I think what we'd all say is that there was a lot of people who were kind of underwhelmed by Jackie last season. Mm. But when you look back at some of the games that, I've had 19 weeks on it, look back at some of the games, some of the passing that Jackie does, especially in in the Everton game, I don't remember those games. I don't remember her playing those balls through, but watching her back now, I'm like, oh, okay. For me, I think most people would say she needs to get forward and score goals. But when you see her getting forward the way she has been doing, I mean, she gets that position. It's not a natural position, and it might cost me, and I don't know. But for me, Jackie starts for me. It's a tough one because I like Kirsty, but you've got to drop players to get them in somehow. So I've gone for Jackie. A striker, then Mr. Lowe.
Okay.
Jess Digsworth.
Yeah, there we go. There's one of them. Yeah, Jess, look, we all know that I'm a big fan of her. She's a very strong attacking player. We've just got to use her down the middle. I don't like this business of putting her out on the wings. That is a wasted talent you've got there. Put it down the middle and she can score goals. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, there's not really much argument there. There's not really much of an argument. It's a fair point. I mean, everyone on these podcasts, a lot of them have been saying exactly the same, that play Jess through the middle. I know John Fry, he was one ref. He's been saying it for ages as well. You need Jess through the middle. She's got the pace. Does she make your starting 11 though, Craney?
Yeah, she does. Same reasons as Jake. I think something I mentioned a lot last season was we miss a work rate. We miss a bullying defenders. a central Jess is a very dangerous Jess. I mean, we saw it when we played West Ham in the Conti Cup a couple of seasons ago. And, she just doesn't give defenders a minute. She presses well, she's strong. And I think I'd say we missed that last year. The games where she was kind of put out on the right, I think we did miss somebody, going and giving defenders a hard time. She's a very good physical player. And like I said, I admire the way she plays. She gets through a lot of work in a game. Again, probably sometimes goes unnoticed, but I think for me, it's got to be Jess.
John's gone even. I mean, I thought my choice on the right was, out, but John Fry's gone Ivana.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Interesting.
I think that is quite interesting because, I mean, I'll be honest. She's not made my starting 11. I don't know whether she's made either of yours.
Yeah, she's in mine on the left.
Is she?
Oh.
Yeah, she is alongside Jess.
Right.
That is interesting. Right, we can put her Ivana in. Are you trying to get points from that? Are you trying to get like suck-up points from that?
No. No.
So,
yeah.
Why have you chosen her then?
So I've gone. I think just something different. I mean, listen. Obviously, prior to speaking about her a couple of weeks ago, I'd only briefly seen bits, and that was the Germany qualifiers for the under-19 Euros. She played against England, and I think she scored definitely 3, possibly 4 goals throughout the whole qualifying tournament. And I think for me, she offers 2 things. 1 is pace, and 2 is power. And I think she'd complement Jess really well. I think obviously Jess is kind of, she's physical as well. But I think Ivana's just something a little bit different for me. I'd use the word unpredictable. She seems to be able to use both feet. So for that reason, I thought, pace, power, new signing with, no pressure really, not massive pressure coming here. Is that, she could be like what I call a hidden gem, something that maybe surprise people.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. I've never thought of it that way at all. It's the player with the unknown quality. It's a great shout. John, as you saw, he's gone for Jess and LJ as his front 2. John, exactly, that's my front 2 as well. I've gone Jess as a number 9 and LJ just playing that little bit deeper. I've gone for Jess. I've already said it. I've gone for Jess for the exact same reasons you two guys have said. That her pace and her power through the middle, and it's the one point that I think we've all kind of made. Leah and Jake said it with Kirsty and everything else. That they've got the pace, but they've also got the power to power past defenders, and I think that's important. And I think one of the biggest criticisms of last season, and I think even Kate yourself said it, was that we weren't scoring enough goals. So I've put Jess there because that's her best position, and that's where and I think she's better through the middle. Jake, you still have one more player. Is this another striker?
It is another striker. Now, at least just take me through my choice here, because the other striker was a really hard decision for me, because you've got Ivana. She's obviously a new signing, not seen anything of her, but I think she could be the answer to scoring more goals. You've got Jane, who is, we don't need to go into how much I love Jane and respect. I think she's going to absolutely smash it this coming season. But I've gone for LJ and Jess up front.
It seems a very popular front 2, this, because a lot of people in the comments and in past discussions we've had over the last 19 weeks or so have said Jess and LJ as a front 2. I mean, all jokes aside, Jake, it must have been difficult because we all know how much you love Jane Ross. We all know it. So, but I don't think it must have been a hard decision, but it mustn't have been that hard because LJ must get in your team somehow.
Yeah, and here's the issue, right? I've been saying all the way up to this past few weeks when we've made new signings, I wanted to put LJ in midfield, But now look at the competition we have in midfield. You've got Katie, you've got Jackie, who have left out. You've got obviously got Lucy coming in now, and you've got Tooney. I don't think LJ can fit in the midfield anymore. So push her up next to Jess because LJ is undroppable. And when you're comparing her to Jane on form, there's no comparison to be made. And as much as I love and defend Jane, last season LJ was 10 times better.
I mean, I don't think there's enough training. I don't think there's enough superlatives we can use for LJ. We're all kind of she can do it all. She's she is a world beater. We keep singing it week in, week out.
Mm. I think for me that's why I kind of put her centrally but behind my front two, because I think with LJ you never know as a defender which way she's going to go. She's comfortable with both feet and she's got a very good long range shot. So I think for me, we mentioned kind of power before and strength. I think she just complement the two behind, which is why I'd kind of gone a slightly different formation. But like you said, LJ on her day is just, I'd say, unplayable. You don't know what you're going to get from a defensive point of view. She's very good with both feet. She's strong, and there's a lot more to come from her for sure.
I mean, in a way, I think Jake's kind of hit the nail on the head. We're kind of spoilt with the kind of players and the choices. I mean, it must be a difficult choice for Casey to make to play some players over others. Very quickly, before we go on to the next thing, who's your captain? Because I've picked Zelly, so that's my captain sorted. Who's your captain, Jake?
Good point. It's got to be Millie Turner for me. A real leader, someone that I definitely have if Katie wasn't in the team. Which in my case, that's the point. So yeah, Mill.
Craney, same.
Yeah, I've got Millie as well. It was a difficult one because, like I touched on, there's quite a few leaders in that team. But I think Millie's done it before. She was captain at Bristol, so I think for me that gives her just a bit more of an edge of some of the others who could potentially get it. I
mean, what's interesting? I mean, I've just done. See, John Fry. There's not really a shock to anyone when Amy Turner is his captain. Someone's asked the question, and Craney, I think you can answer it if you want. Lottie says, "Why was Leah done with football? She played in Germany, didn't she?"
Yeah, why was she done? I don't know. Difficult to say, really. I think it's one of them where she started off over here. I think was it Leeds she started off in. They had a team. Things didn't go quite to plan there. She was then out in America on a scholarship or a university kind of apprenticeship thing. Went over to Germany, to Munich, and I think, I don't know, for whatever reason, maybe possibly homesick, I'm not sure, but she just didn't seem to play. A couple of injuries as well, and I think it's difficult, isn't it? Obviously, you're away from home, you're injured and you're not playing. I think on the pitch as well as off the pitch has to be right. I think you need that balance, and without knowing the ins and outs, I'd hazard a guess that was probably the reasons. And obviously Leah talked about when she came back, she enjoyed football again to Casey. Mentally she was right. She enjoyed training. So I think there's probably, like I say, just guessing purely. I think based on some of those points I mentioned, I think that could be the reason why she kind of lost her way slightly.
Yeah, I mean, Deborah's going back to the captaincy bit. Deborah agrees. Natural leader, maybe not such a shouter, but lead by example. So, I mean, it's a tough one because if I wouldn't have had Zelly in my team, I would have had Millie as my captain as well. Very, very. Before we try to wrap it up and tonight, where do you? Obviously, we don't know how football's going to be for us next season. If we're going to be able to go, or if it starts behind closed doors and we slowly get integrated back in. Where are your hopes for United finishing next season, Jake?
Look, it'll be nice to say top three. I think we all want to be there, but without being pessimistic, I can't see us breaking into it. I think I'm quite confident we'll stay fourth. Maybe we'll push them close, and I'd like to see we will. But look at the signings that Chelsea and City have made, and also I know there's rumours about certain players joining City. That's not not quite confirmed, but there's rumours going around. But look, Chelsea have just signed, I think it's Jesse Fleming and a German international who I can't remember the name of at the moment. And obviously, City are adding to the team constantly. And then you've got Arsenal as well, who've also, all WSL teams are adding reinforcements into the side. But Arsenal, I think, they're recruiting names that aren't massive, but are going to make a big difference for them. I think we had that what's the name, Gut. I've not done my research on Arsenal signings, but I know they are sort of building up their team a bit more. So I'd love to be top 3, but I think we're going to finish 4th.
Just before we come over to Craig to ask the same question, Ron Fry's asked the question, and Jake, this is your moment. This is for you. You can answer this one. Was I wrong, but the game Katie didn't start, was Amy captain that game? So I thought she was vice captain. Jake, it's over to you.
Well, back in February, Everton away, our final game, a legend by the name of Jane Ross was rightly giving the armband, and she led by example. She led the team to victory through her brilliant leadership skills, and that's it.
So there you go, John. It was Jane Ross, who's got a 100% record as captain.
Just pure success, isn't it?
Training. Hopes for next season. Where do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna say same as Jake. I think top 4. I mean, listen, top 3. I said this last year. Goals, for me, it's a big thing. We just, for whatever reason, last year we didn't score too many or near as many as we should have done. I think this year, again, if we're bringing another forward, I can see more goals. Obviously, depending who that is, but I just think, top 4, and I'd like to go further in a cup. I think we need to be pushing for a final now. Obviously, season 3, it's time to push on. But I think top 4, yes, it might be a little bit of a battle because there's a couple of other teams below us that are strengthened, like Reading and Everton. That said, it's going to be how well their players gel. I think what they haven't brought in 5-6 players. Whether they're going to hit the ground running remains to be seen. And there is talk as well of throwing, was it €100,000 at a forward? So they're obviously going out there to try and look to close the gap between us and them. But I think 4th is, possible. Again, it's realistic. And hopefully if we can, like I say, make a cup final and just try and push Arsenal as far as possible. But I'd say 4th for me.
John says we need 2 more signings. If we don't get those 2 signings, then it's 4th for him. And Deborah has a message. Jane Ross is lucky to have a fan like Jake. So, before we wrap it up tonight, look out for our socials. We've got some stuff happening tomorrow, Throwback Thursday, which Matt does for us every week. And we've got a Feel Good Friday as well happening this week. John Fry, you will love it. It's all about Amy Turner. So watch out for that as well. Next week's podcast Deborah will be on it with with Fiona, and it will be slightly earlier due to the men playing in the Europa League. So look out on our socials. We will get the time out. So it'll be about either half an hour or 15 minutes earlier. Yeah, we're not sure. Depends who we can get on with it. I just want to thank Jake and Matt for tonight. Thanks, guys.
Cheers. Thank you.
And we'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.